Let's go, guy! You're slowing down the whole process!
Being a sniper in the U.S. Army means much more than just pulling a trigger. To become one of these lethal soldiers, students must pass grueling physical and mental tests during a 7-week course that only about half of the class will complete before officially becoming Army snipers. These soldiers are training to be U.S. Army snipers. Before this 7-week training course is done, more than half of them will be dropped from training.
I think when you actually get down here on the ground and you're actually performing the role of a sniper, it's a lot different from what a lot of people would instantly think. Most of the time you're laying somewhere you don't want to lay for way longer than you thought you would be, and sometimes it's fruitless and sometimes it's not.
This is the U.S. Army Sniper Course.
Let's go, guy, keep moving!
Where soldiers from the Army and National Guard learn essential skills in sniper fieldcraft and marksmanship.
Soldiers leaving here are going to leave a more lethal soldier than they were prior to arriving.
There are more than 2,000 snipers currently serving in the U.S. Army. Their primary mission? Placing long-range precision fire on key targets. But being a sniper goes beyond pulling a trigger.
Let's go!
Insider spent 2 days at the U.S. Army Sniper Course at Fort Benning, observing different classes at various stages of training, including marksmanship, range estimation, target detection, and stalks. To be accepted into the Sniper Course, prospective students must meet a range of prerequisites, which include passing a psychological evaluation and physical fitness test, achieving expert qualification with the M4 carbine, and receiving a recommendation letter from their battalion commander.
Attributes to make a good sniper to attend the United States Army Sniper Course would be a disciplined soldier, the ability to think on their feet, but the ability to grow through updated doctrine.
Although both male and females are eligible for entry, only one female student has attended the course, graduating in 2021. Training is split into 2 categories: fieldcraft and marksmanship.
All right, 5 minutes to dry fire begins now.
During marksmanship training, students get familiarized with 3 different rifles: the M2010 Enhanced Sniper Rifle, the M110 SAS, and the M107.
Shooting has always been the fun thing to do. You know, it's what everyone wants to go do. They want to go shoot.
Working in pairs, students learn to hit targets from 600 to 1,100 meters away, alternating between the shooter and spotter positions.
All right, so you're gonna dial 5.4.
Before participating in graded events, the soldiers spend time on the range gathering and confirming dope or data on previous engagements, which includes temperature, altitude, humidity, and even the weight and velocity of their ammunition.
Give me a 7.8 elevation.
This data informs the shooters of how to adjust their rifles in order to hit their targets in any situation.
Order the target, stand by for wind.
Students also have to account for wind and how to properly read it on the path to their target.
Left point 2. All right, go to the target.
So basically they're just looking for the wind, what the elements are doing around them, and then giving wind calls based off that.
Left point 3.
Students use a unit of measurement called milliradians, or mils, represented by the hash marks inside the shooter's scope, to determine the wind's effect on their shot.
Left point 7. Left point 7. Go. Left point 7.
So they're just telling the whole 0.5 left or 0.2 left, and it's actually going inside their reticle.
Those were all bad wind calls on my part. You are
very bad. Like opposite direction on what you need to be calling the wind bed.
They have several opportunities to practice reading wind and gather dope with the M2010 ahead of their first graded record fire, which takes place during week 3.
I think this is the part of sniper school that everyone really likes that come here, because they get to shoot, 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 and you don't get to do this a lot in a normal Army world.
0.8.
I personally love it. That's why I came to sniper school. I love shooting. It's the most time that I've ever gotten on the gun, so it's definitely good practice.
Target's up. Chase. Walk.
Wind becomes an even bigger factor during movers training, where students practice firing at moving targets.
When you go down range, your targetry, i.e. the enemy, doesn't typically want to stay in one spot when you start shooting at them. So this helps them get into the right mindset and get them the tools and techniques so that they can engage those targets effectively.
Working in pairs, students fire at moving targets ranging from 200 to 600 meters away and have 2 minutes to move between firing positions.
One mil. I got one.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Shooters measure the target's speed in mils and must factor in their movement when determining where to aim their shot.
Lead's gonna be 0.8. Wind's moving from right to left.
So they're calling out those numeric values in mils based on what they should be holding left, right of the target as it moves across the range.
What'd you hold? 1.2.
All this really entails is you getting an accurate hold in front of the target so that as it moves towards the center of your reticle, you will then fire preemptively so that the bullet will meet with the target as it moves across the range.
It's going to be a 0.7, going right to left, go 1 mil.
It can be very confusing determining what side of the target you should be holding on. Should I be adding mils to the target as I'm going with the wind? Should I be taking mils away as I'm going against the wind?
0.855 times 1 equals
Right to left.
0.8 hold. Your shooter and the spotter both need to be talking. They both need to be talking about where the wind's coming from and trying to come up with those numbers in their heads, so that makes it a little bit easier to do that fast math in your head.
What are you going to go, 0.6 here now?
Yeah, left 0.5, left 0.6.
As we start to go deeper and deeper into the training, they get better at it, and we almost have a 100% pass rate with movers.
So when you have a magazine in, you're going to want to settle it a little low.
Although roughly 50% of the sniper course involves firing weapons, marksmanship isn't the sole focus of training.
A sniper's secondary mission is to collect and report battlefield information, but 9 times out of 10, that's the mission you're going to end up doing.
In order to collect battlefield information undetected, students must master a wide array of fieldcraft skills, starting with how to properly construct a ghillie suit. Ghillie suits are a type of camouflage clothing that snipers use to blend in with their environment.
We use natural vegetation as well. We tie that into our suit and it helps us to blend in with whatever environment we could potentially be working in. The ghillie suit's constructed with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's not fun. You're just sewing through all your areas that could potentially rip. I'm taking a lot of time with really thick needles and yarn and a lot of glue.
So I have probably 8 to 10 hours worth into my ghillie suit now, including all of the sewing and everything, and I'd say that it's probably around a 7 out of 10, but there's always more you can do to it.
During range estimation exercises, students must determine the distance to a given target using nothing but their eyes and rifle scope. Before the exercise begins, they take measurements of their target, which in this case was an instructor and a vehicle.
They get all the measurements from waist to top of the head, waist to shoulder, shoulder to shoulder, or from toes to top of the head, as well as multiple measurements on the vehicle itself so that they can measure out with their optic the size of the target at distance.
Eyes up.
During the exercise, students use only their eyes to estimate how far the target is at 10 different distances, varying from 300 to 1,000 meters.
They teach us brackets. If it's in the 1 to 200 meter bracket, if it's in the 2 to 300 meter bracket, and then we choose if it's closer to 300 or to 200.
It's still a challenge to do by eye, but using the reticle, as long as you have proper measurements, it's all just math.
When using their scopes, students are taught to use the mil relation formula, which takes the height of the target in inches, multiplied by a constant, and then divided by the target's height in mils. The resulting number is the distance to the target in meters. To be successful, their estimates must be within 5% of the actual distance, and they must accurately record at least 14 out of the 20 ranges to pass their graded exercise. Of the class we observed, 2 students failed. They have 1 more opportunity to pass, or they'll be dropped from the sniper course.
It's an extremely important skill to be able to range estimate accurately as a sniper, because we may not be in an environment that is permissive enough to allow us to use technology to estimate our range to our target. So snipers need to know how to be able to measure and do the Miller relation formula in order to determine their range to target.
All right, turn around, get in the prone, eyes down.
During target detection training, students scan a field in front of them for 10 military-related items that have been strategically hidden by instructors, some as small as a couple of inches.
Target detection is a sniper's ability to detect anomalies in their environment. We run them through a series of exercises here at the schoolhouse that reinforces their searching patterns, searching techniques, and their ability to actually pick up on anomalies.
Using their eyes, scopes, and binoculars, the class is given 40 minutes to search for the objects in a 10,000 square meter field, and must accurately locate and record at least 7 to be successful.
Honestly, it's only difficult if you're looking for items. If you don't look for something specific and you just scan the area, they'll pop out at you because the human eye hates patterns. So when you see a disruption in a pattern, it pops out at you.
Students are taught several scanning techniques and look out for various target indicators such as shine, shape, texture, and contrast to the background environment.
The human eye naturally scans left to right, top to bottom, and one thing that they hit on that was really big was scanning bottom to top, right to left. It kind of forces your mind to not go its natural path. You pick up things a lot easier.
Looking around this area right here and realizing the way the bark naturally looks, they see this natural difference right here where the pattern's messed up and there's no longer any bark. And focusing a little bit more on it, you're able to find the texture of the plastic, the color doesn't add up, it's not that gray or that black anymore, you got a little bit of a green. Might catch some kind of sheen coming off of it.
Of the class we observed, one student failed and was dropped from the sniper course. Fieldcraft skills such as target detection are vital to their future careers as snipers.
If you see anything of note, you log it down in one form or another. As a sniper, you're always doing that throughout an entire mission. So ultimately, that is the most important job of a sniper, and it's the one that's ultimately most valuable to the commander because now he's getting a better picture of the objective or the battlefield.
Fieldcraft training culminates with stalk events, where pairs of students must navigate through wooded terrain to observe their assigned target without being spotted by the instructors walking around them, or by those observing from afar with binoculars. Students perform 4 practical stalk training exercises before moving on to graded events. But according to the Army, the majority of students from this class did not pass their graded stalk events and were dropped from the course.
Sergeant Terry.
On average, just 47% of the 288 students who are accepted to the sniper course each year end up graduating. Those who are able to successfully complete the course will go on to teach the skills they've learned to the junior soldiers in their unit and could be deployed into combat as snipers immediately if necessary.
It's extremely rewarding to watch a soldier that has a small understanding of the weapon platform or the techniques to employ as a sniper. And once they graduate the course, their ability to perform as a sniper is outstanding.
Let's go!
One of a sniper's most important tools is a ghillie suit. They're used to camouflage a sniper as they move stealthily toward their objective. The suits are handmade during training and put to the test during an exhausting event known as the ghillie wash. These U.S. Army Sniper Course students are participating in what's known as a ghillie wash, an event designed to test the durability of a soldier's ghillie suit. Snipers rely on their ghillie suits in combat to disguise themselves from enemies.
The purpose of the ghillie suit is to achieve a blending. We use natural vegetation as well. We tie that into our suit and it helps us to blend in with whatever environment we could potentially be working in.
These future snipers will take the ghillie suits made and tested in training into actual combat.
We give them steps and places of the body where we want to cover that helps us look like nothing. They could even know that they're looking for us. They know someone is there, but they cannot find us.
Commercially made ghillie suits can cost anywhere from $200 to $400. It all starts with the base layer. For many, it's one of their old uniforms, or a used one they can buy for roughly $100.
I just cut a bunch of pieces out of it, sewed a bunch of mesh into it for venting, and then sewed netting onto the outside of it.
Netting is used to break up the sniper's silhouette and to attach natural and artificial camouflage to the suit. The most common artificial camouflage is jute, a fibrous plant-based material.
You just strip it into pieces, and that is the hair-looking stuff all over a ghillie suit.
But just be mindful of this color, right? If you're not in shade, that's not going to do you any good, right? That's going to make you stick out.
Instructors inspect students' ghillie suits several times during the sniper course.
We do a 360 inspection, ensuring that there are points that generally get blown out, such as the crotch of the pants, armpits, elbows, stuff like that. Those high wear and tear areas are reinforced, they're sewn down, they're glued.
I know you got it extended here. You might want to try to extend this some here to break up this straight line. Every student's ghillie suit isn't going to be the same. We give them left and right parameters, and they fit, wherever they fall in.
The durability of the suits is tested during an event known as the Ghillie Wash, which happens in week 2 of the sniper course.
Ooh. Hurry up! He's moving!
The purpose of the ghillie wash is to season and condition their ghillie suit, not only to help it soak up color and to have it kind of more natural and earthy. It also allows us to find any weak points they could potentially have in their ghillie suits. Just kind of see how anything will tear, like the netting and stuff on the back.
The ghillie wash starts with students crawling and rolling across various terrains,
Go to your left, go to your left. Hey, Kate.
including gravel, pavement, and sand.
What is the primary role of the sniper? To engage with the
We soak them down, get them wet. That's going to start creating a lot of weight. It's going to make it a little bit harder for them as well.
Exercises such as lunges, squats, and push-ups test the suit's ability to stretch under pressure.
They're just kind of testing out their ghillie suit in sense of how able was it to take the beating.
After roughing up their suits, students crawl on their stomachs and backs through wet and muddy trenches to add color to them.
It's not necessarily we're trying to find a weak point at that point, but we're trying to get that color deeply rooted in the fabric. There is really, really deep clay mud that's pretty prominent here, so it's a good source for when you're trying to get that earthy tone here.
The clay around here in Georgia tastes pretty good, so.
The last section of the ghillie wash takes place in a 200-foot-long trench, filled with water reaching up to chest high.
You have them low crawling over any kind of like obstacles and stuff like that to see if the area that they drag themselves on will possibly peel up. And again, any kind of stitching is going to rip.
After climbing out of the trench, the students get hosed off to remove any excess mud before hanging their suits out to dry.
It is a very physical event, but it's completely necessary. Like, we have to test out these ghillie suits to make sure they're going to withstand the test of time.
The culminating test of the ghillie suits comes during stalk events. Students must navigate through wooded terrain without being spotted by the instructors walking around them, or by those observing from afar with binoculars. Before the event begins, the class covers themselves in natural vegetation that matches their surroundings.
On their ghillie suits, they have a number of tie downs on the hat, the top, and the pants. They'll tie natural vegetation that matches the environment they're currently in, just to give them an initial base layer of camouflage as they move through the lane.
Students are taught to use a 30-to-70 ratio of artificial to natural camouflage and must carefully pick which kinds of foliage to use.
Here in Georgia, it's so hot and humid, everything dies kind of quickly. The only thing that's going to really live on you a long time is the pine leaves and stuff. And the smaller, the shorter the plant is, the longer it'll live.
Once the class enters the woods, they must keep a low profile, moving slowly and deliberately to avoid drawing the eye of an instructor. As the foliage around them changes, the students swap out the natural vegetation on their ghillie suits to match their environment. But even the smallest of imperfections in a student's camouflage will get them spotted.
He is pulling, and then spotter, spotting scope. Not a bad position at all, right? If you would have vegged more on that spotting scope, you guys probably would have been all right.
I had like a screen over the top of my tripod, and it was like an off color for the foliage that was around. I mean, you're not going to go out there and not learn something, so it's definitely fun.
You don't put it on, it just disappears, not like the movies or a video game, but you put it on and it helps us to achieve a blending effect with our environment.
A well-constructed and properly maintained ghillie suit can last a sniper's entire career.
I've done multiple washes in my ghillie suit, and I've had it the entirety of me being a sniper. The only time I have to do anything to it is just replace jute, because it's natural and it's going to wear away eventually. But all the stitching, everything like that is continuously held up over the years. That's the beauty of the ghillie suit, is that it can be manipulated in so many different ways to kind of tailor it to whatever environment you're in.
A sniper's secondary objective is collecting battlefield information, often behind enemy lines. While the ghillie suit allows the sniper to blend into their environment, they still need to properly move through the terrain without being detected, which is why students participate in challenging stalk exercises. These U.S. Army Sniper Corps students are participating in a stalk mission, where they have to stealthily navigate through wooded terrain without being spotted by instructors. It's designed to prepare future snipers for real missions they'll encounter on deployment.
So the way we have kind of molded the stock portion of the course now is to kind of more closely mirror a real-world mission. A sniper's secondary mission is to collect and report battlefield information, but 9 times out of 10, that's the mission you're going to end up doing.
Students at the sniper course perform 4 practical stalk exercises before moving on to graded events, of which they'll have 3 opportunities to pass or be dropped from the course.
By the time we get to the end of graded stocks, we'll generally lose between 5 and 8 students.
On a brisk morning in October, Insider followed a class participating in their first practical stalk exercise.
Your team will be given 10 minutes to prepare yourself and equipment for this exercise. From this point on, you are only authorized to talk amongst your team and 2 instructors. Running is not authorized. Failure to perform proper movement techniques will result in your team being reset. Being reset more than once for any reason is an automatic failure.
The class covers their ghillie suits with natural vegetation to match their environment.
In order to truly blend in with your environment, to get rid of the human signatures of the sides of the head, shoulders, the areas that are distinguishable, you have to tie in vegetation to your foreground, background, everything around you.
Students use hair ties and 550 cord that they've glued onto their ghillie suits to affix the foliage, and are taught to use a 70-to-30 ratio of natural to artificial camouflage.
Here in Georgia, it's so hot and humid, everything dies kind of quickly. The only thing that's going to really live on you a long time is the pine leaves and stuff. And the smaller, the shorter the plant is, the longer it'll live.
I like to work from the top down. As many tie downs as you can have on your ghillie suit is better. I feel like the initial veg was good, and it was easy to cover it in like dead grass and trees that are around you.
The students carry the gear that they would have with them during a real mission, including an M2010 enhanced sniper rifle tripods, a spotting scope, and navigational tools. After plotting a course to their destination, the students head off into the woods in teams of 2. Although snipers are prepared to work alone, working in teams can increase security and effectiveness.
The days of a single sniper crawling out of their base camp and going on a mission are over. So in real life, they're going to be at least in a team of 2, more than likely a team of 3. So here at Sniper School, in an attempt to modernize, we pair them up in teams.
Once the exercise begins, they have 2 hours to reach a spot from which they can view their target, which in this case is a truck. Students are taught several movement techniques to use while stalking, including the sniper low crawl, hands and knees crawl, and crouch walk, and will get docked points if the walkers moving amongst them spot them moving improperly.
Freeze, you two! So if a team is trying to rush up to the objective, like not moving tactically or in the movement techniques that they have been previously taught, then one of the instructors on the lane will stop them, gather their information, and send them back, usually a terrain feature, away, and have them restart after explaining what they did wrong.
Yeah, Roger, it's probably this guy right here that I got my flag on. He was facing away from the truck, so it's probably his back that you saw. All right, so you guys tracking, right? Yo, so thick is good. Right, getting in that thick spot is good, but you're playing a dangerous game, right? Because you're mixing the potential of overhead movement. And look how close you guys are to the objective. You are way too close to be causing this much movement.
Halfway through, when we were doing a map check, we stood straight up and down instead of taking a knee, which is our fault for that. But they just told us initially, like, have that low profile the whole time, and you have to have that in the back of your head, which is kind of hard when you're carrying a bunch of stuff.
Instructors will also dock points for improper camouflage.
What do you think you look like right now walking through the woods?
Stupid dude with
a dude in a ghillie suit. Okay. Go ahead, take your time right now, fix yourself before you hit that next terrain feature.
If you were wandering around in the lane and you had taken off your ghillie hat and you were just walking around bareheaded, improper camouflage. So we're going to stop you, correct you during these practical exercises, send you back so you can try again. The walker is really a friend. If we see a team that's making some mistakes and maybe needs to do some things better, they're more than welcome to ask questions. They can ask any of the walkers on the lane, how should I do this? And we'll give them tips.
Shine and shadow, man, are going to get you every time. Okay, so take it out of the equation and then just worry about contrast. Cool, head back to the RP.
Even if teams evade detection by the walkers, they can also get spotted by the instructors scanning for them with binoculars.
So if they think they see some movement, like for instance, if they were to rub up against the sapling, it would make the sapling wave back and forth. So that's a target indicator, so that would key the observer in on that area. There's 2 techniques he can use. He can either call up one of the walkers and just walk him that way and try to walk him into that team, or he can call freeze, which freezes the entire lane.
Hey, right behind you, can you yell freeze?
Freeze! At that point, he would walk the walker in and try to get within 12 inches. If he gets within 12 inches and the observer calls sniper at your feet, and that team is within 12 inches or any piece of their equipment, well, they're busted at that point. Roger. Sniper at my feet.
When a team finds a spot where they can both view the truck from behind cover, they set up their final firing position. The students swap out the vegetation on their ghillie suits and gear to match their new environment. Each member of the sniper team has an assigned role and responsibilities.
So the shooter is going to be getting his weapon oriented on the target, collecting any data he can, building up his position. The spotter will be setting up his spotting scope. In a real world, he would be executing a sketch or taking camera shots of the objective area, getting the environmental data, the weather data, which affects the shot depending on the range. So there's a number of little subtasks that go into each major task where the sniper is just going to shoot and the spotter is the team leader.
Once they've established their final firing position, each team has to observe and record a scenario occurring at the objective. In this case, it involved 2 instructors setting up and firing a mortar round. The spotter must formulate a call for fire request based on what they've seen.
They'll fill in the grid to the target that they're calling the artillery on. They'll give a distance and a direction and a description. So being able to see that entire scenario and the entire objective area plays into that, because they need to be able to accurately describe the scenario and what the target is they're going to be calling that mission in on.
To prove that they're able to view enough of their target, both the shooter and the spotter have to correctly identify 2 letters held up by the instructors in the back of the truck.
Letters up.
Foxtrot.
Say again?
Foxtrot.
Shooter identifies Foxtrot.
Good ID.
Good ID. Shooter eyes down, spotter eyes up.
And the letter is up.
Letters up. Papa. Spotter identifies Papa.
Bad ID. Bravo.
Bad ID. Letter was Bravo.
Finally, to pass the exercise, the team must evade detection from the instructors scanning for them from the back of the truck.
Cool, you within 10?
But even the smallest of indicators will give them away.
Flag. Here's the shooter's head. He is prone. And then spotter, spotting scope. Not a bad position at all, right? If you would have vegged more on that spotting scope, you guys probably would have been all right.
They're really good at spotting movement and things that are different from the baseline around our environment, so I feel like it was kind of a shock to everyone how easily they could spot us.
It was a good position. You guys had observation, right? Refine your camouflage. Okay, refine camouflaging techniques. All right, find your spot. Make sure you can see, and then start vegging, right? Veg 10 times, shoot once.
At the end of this stalk exercise, none of the participating students received a passing grade.
I set up the spotting scope and just kind of watched the cadre for like an hour and 20 minutes while my partner was trying to find a place to put the rifle so he could watch them too. And we never even ended up finding a way for both of us to be able to see them from the same place. And it's hard. They make it hard for sure.
The problem is the instructors that work here currently, they have a lot of experience, both real world and here at the schoolhouse. You definitely have to think outside the box if you're going to get a passing score, especially on your first exercise.
This class will have 3 more practical stalk exercises to refine their skills before moving on to their graded missions.
It's tough. It's tough. They changed it recently. I don't know anybody here that's trained to do buddy team stalks on an objective like that, so it's difficult, but it's doable.
The skills students learn during stalk missions are directly applicable to their future careers as snipers.
You're always collecting and reporting battlefield information. You're only sometimes going to end up putting a round down range. Since that is the greater magnitude of the things that a sniper is going to be doing and what a commander is going to want from his sniper, he wants information. So we're kind of gearing this portion of the course to build their techniques up in that and boost their confidence in their own abilities. And then when they get back to their unit, they're bringing a real force multiplier to their commander.
Once Army snipers complete their training, they must master a comprehensive understanding of the equipment they'll use in combat and how to use it. We talked to an Army sniper who revealed every item a sniper would carry on a mission.
I'm Staff Sergeant Andrew Dominguez, and what I have here is a typical sniper loadout that I would take on most missions. Here I have the M2010 Enhanced Sniper Rifle. It is equipped with a Mark IV variable scope from 5 to 25 power. In front of it I have an AN PVS 30. It lets me see at night with a see-through so it doesn't interfere with my reticle. It's effective out to 1,200 meters. Notable feature is that I have a collapsible buttstock that helps me for transportation. The gun can hold a 6-round magazine. Here on my left I have a M110 semi-automatic sniper weapon system. It is also equipped with a Leupold Mark V 3.5 to 18 power magnification. On top of this is a Storm mounting bracket with a Storm SLX, also to aid me with night operations, and also is equipped with a laser rangefinder for ranging targets. It can also holds a 10 to 20 round magazine chambered in the 7.62 millimeter ammunition. Here Here's my rucksack that I would use for most sniper operations. This would have my standard load. So depending on the amount of equipment that I have in here, I can be anywhere from 35 to 65 pounds without water. So we have a fighting load and an approach load. The fighting load is really going to hold me for that 3 days or less. And the approach load is what I'm going to use for extended durations. Easily accessible on the outside, I have a ghillie suit that I can use to help me for my infiltration. This particular configuration is set for a rural environment. On the back of the ghillie suit here, I have artificial camouflage known as jute. I also have incorporated 550 cord or paracord that allows me to tie down larger pieces of vegetation. In here I have hair ties that helps me hold in smaller or shrubs of grass. Things that I would need to fill in the gaps also when I have the larger plants. When it comes to camouflaging and blending in, a ratio that we go off of is 30-70, 30% of this artificial and 70% natural. And what that does is it lets me rely heavily and adapt to my environment that I'm currently in, and the artificial is just more of a filler. Same thing here for the ghillie pants. I also have included a zipper for ease of access so I can leave my boots on when taking them on and off. Reinforced stitching in the front, also with canvas or Condura. That helps me protect it and the durability of it. So when I'm low crawling or lower movement patterns. Typically a sniper will have 2 or 3 depending on the environments that they work in. I can have one for urban specifically, or I can have one for rural. Easily accessible right on top, I have my Bushnell tripod. Also with my sling, it helps me for transportation if I'm carrying it. So the tripod I can use to hold an observation device, such as my M151 spotting scope, or I can have my gun clip in here as well. I can use it to assist me in standing or kneeling shots. Here's the spotting scope that I would use for observation. It clips right into the adapter, much like a camera would on a tripod. The magnification on this is variable from 12 to 40, and this is what I use to aid my shooter getting on target and observing what we call trace and the fall-on for the target engagement. I can also, in an observation setting, I can have this for literally that static observation, help me magnify in, if need be, to positive identification, or just get a better picture of what's going on at further distance. Here's our Ashbury tripod, another tripod that we can use for lower level of observation, such as if I'm laying in the prone or in a hide site. So this also would hold my M151 spotting scope. It just clips in with this adapter piece as well. Here's a hog saddle. This right here will clip on with an adapter to my M1 or my Bushnell tripod. What this does is allows me to place an optic or my weapon in here, again, to help lock in my standing or kneeling positions for shooting. A big tool that we use and rely on is a clipboard. One that holds all my documents or sketches, logs that I would use on a patrol. I have a weather flap here, so I use that to protect it from the elements when I am actively writing or sketching. In sniper school, we're very analog because it has a redundancy. So in the event that I don't have a camera or it goes down, I have the ability to sketch an observation area or objective area. I also have a multitude of pens and markers, pencils. Having a calculator is handy because that will help me with the mill relation formula that I use. The mill relation formula is a math problem that we will use to figure out the distance to a target. So it takes the constant of 25.4, I times it by my target size in inches, and then I divide that by the mill reading that I have, which will give me my distance in meters. Most snipers will have either 100-mile-an-hour tape or electrical tape. It's more of a, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. A tape measurer also. I need to know target size in inches. If I have something on the spot that is near me, which is the same out in distance, I can use that as a reference point. And if I had maps or any other topographical aids that I would use, that would be in here as well. Readily accessible, I like to have a multitude of rear bags or shooting bags. They call it a rear bag because of the position that I hold it. It goes at the end of the buttstock, and I will use my non-firing hand to hold it, and it helps me make those real minute adjustments, raising or lowering in elevation. A lot of people will make these by putting popcorn kernels, airsoft beads. You can get these professionally made or you can make them yourself. Always have to have an MRE in the bag too. So these are meal ready to eat. They come with a main side or main dish. There's a side carbohydrate, starch, and a protein item in here as well. And loads of snacks too. You can find Skittles, cookies, and other juice beverages, powders. I currently have the meatballs and marinara sauce. It is one of my personal favorites. Here in my bag, I have extra M2010 magazines that I would use just in case one of these breaks or I get a resupply. I have magazines to load those bullets up. Here's a Kestrel 5700. This is a Kester anemometer. It's a weather station along with applied ballistic software in there. This is what I will use depending on the specific round that I'm firing. This will give me the data I need to engage target at distance. I also have here standard issued cold weather gear that I would need for the temperature changes that might happen in the evening. We refer to these as a waffle top and a waffle bottom. We say waffle just because of the pattern that is on it.
Are they comfortable?
They're okay. Next I have really accessible is my wet weather gear, because for that inclement weather or when it starts to rain on me, this will help keep me dry. Here is the parka and the trousers that I have. The great features on these two is that they are also accessible for me to put these on with the zippers, that I can put them on while wearing my pants and boots still. And the parka usually comes oversized, so that I can still have my combat fighting equipment on without having to change anything. Another thing I like to have on the outside, also easily accessible, is the poncho. This is what I will use when I cache my ruck. I can put this over to keep it dry, and I can also use it for a shelter if need be. In addition to what I would carry, I would be wearing a ballistic helmet and a ballistic plate carrier. Inside here, I'm equipped with ballistic plates that are able stopping certain calibers around. You'll see here magazine pouches and spots for my radio. The ballistic helmet that we have here, there's Velcro all over it. It's noted for using IR strobes or beacons used to signal your position to other entities that have night vision. Snipers typically would not use anything of that nature unless we were using it on an exfiltration because we're trying to keep a low signature and low visual presence. Moving along towards my more survival tools that I have a water purifier right here. So in the event that I had to egress or escape and evade, I have the means to purify my own water. When I fully open this up, it attaches to a Nalgene bottle. The hose goes into my water source, and there's a pump on here and would go through the filtration into the Nalgene bottle. Fortunately, I have not had to use this. Survival knife here, I would use this to help me, again, in a survival situation. I can use it to kill small game. Here I have an IR transmitter. So again, if I'm needing to evade, I have the means to signal friendly forces by means of infrared. The package comes with a 9-volt battery and an IR beacon that clips right on, and every second it will emit a flash. It can be held handheld or I can mount it to a helmet. Here in front of me, I have some other specialized items that I would use for mission specific. Starting on my right here, I will always have a data book and also with what we call a quarterback sleeve. If you notice, it'll go right in my forearm here, and I can keep shooting data readily accessible. Here, an extra piece of veil I can use to help mask my visual signature. I can put it in front of me or help it to drape over my weapon. Here I have additional or spare paracord or 550 cord. I would use this to help me refine or build a better firing position, or I can use this when I have overhead cover. Pruning shears here. Use these for my smaller or thinner pieces of vegetation, what I would use to fill inside my ghillie suit. Here I have a portable handsaw. This is literally a chain from a chainsaw. It has wrist straps and handles, and I can just saw back and forth. I can use this to cut down larger pieces of lumber or thicker trees that my pruning shears will not be able to handle. I can use it to help me conceal my position in the rural environment. Face paint I would also use to apply this to help me blend into rural surroundings. I would say it's similar to what you would find at a party city when you do costume face paint, hunting face paint as well. Here in front of me I have a few items that I would use for an urban setting. I have various lengths of screen I would use to help conceal my position. With that, metal clamps to help me hold these securely. And that is all the gear a U.S. Army sniper could use on a mission.
Down! One kill!